Yo, Gersonzero here, and welcome to my top 20 beat 'em up games of all time. I haven't tackled a top 20 list in over a year, so it's time to get to work. But before we continue, I want to give credit to Staggertron. I saw a countdown of his where he talks about 10 great SNES beat 'em ups. It inspired me to make my own, but extending past the great SNES library. I do recommend checking it out, so I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. Rules of this countdown are as follow. One game of franchise, but per console. For example, say Mario 3 for the NES was on the list, then Mario 64 can be on it as well. I know, kinda cheap, but I promise it works for this list. Also, each game has to be 2 or more players. And that's it. Let's do this. Number 20. Ever since the jump to 3D, it always felt to me like something was missing. I came from an era of 2D beat 'em ups, where bashing goons in the face alongside a friend was common ground. Walking down the streets and tearing it up was not as common in the 32-bit era. With the shift to 3D, we got House of the Dead, a cool light gun zombie shooter. That game was a ton of fun too, but it was on rails, and again, a light gun game. Now imagine House of the Dead, but instead of relying on shooting, you're whipping zombie ass with your bare hands. You have guns as well, but you're mostly tackling zombies, rapid punching them, slamming them to the ground, and most importantly, teaming up with a friend to clean up the streets. In Zombies Revenge, you take control of 3 detectives who are out to... I have no idea, honestly. The story isn't the high point, but rather the gameplay is. As it should, but the variety in combat is high in this game. All 3 characters are nowhere near the same. One even has voodoo magic, and he doesn't even speak English. Let me not even talk about the awesome stages. To me, it was always awesome kicking ass on a train, and this game has that. The locations in this one are sweet. This one is one of the harder games on the list, but a definite must play if you own a Dreamcast. Number 19. Peanut butter and chocolate go so well together. But you know what's a better combination? Ninjas in a beat 'em up. Sengoku 3 for the Neo Geo is so awesome. You take control of 6 ninjas, which 2 are unlocked after getting halfway through the game, and travel the world as you prevent peace from being interrupted. I'm not lying, that's why they were brought forth to fight. The story, as usual, isn't anything to brag about. All I know is that peace was interrupted and ninjas want to kick ass until peace is put back into place. Isn't that an awesome reason to beat the hell out of every undead samurai in your way? Sengoku 3 has an awesome combo system. Every character plays completely different than one another, and juggling enemies never gets old. With a 2001 release, this game made me very happy to see the genre wasn't dead. Did I mention the music is great, but the sprite work is even greater. Just make sure you play this one with a friend. Number 18. Mutation Nation is another Neo Geo beat 'em up, but this one, oh man, this one. Remember when I said Sengoku 3 had the greatest reason why ninjas are kicking ass? Well, this one takes the cake. I don't have the booklet, but I'm gonna read what Wiki has to say about it. In the year 2050, a mad scientist was shut down by his superiors after conducting bizarre biological experiments. However, soon after, his lab exploded and the scientist himself mysteriously disappeared. Now, several years later, there are new buildings on top of the forgotten slum where the experiments took place, and suddenly, a genetic virus has started to spread among the tenants, turning them into vicious mutants. Two young fighters of the local city, Ricky Jones and Johnny Hart, return to town after having been away for a long time. And upon seeing the chaos that's happening, they take it upon themselves to clean up the town before the mutants spread across the nation. Fucking brilliant. Clean up the town? That's exactly what Ricky Jones and Johnny Hart do in this game. This under the radar game is so much fun. You have your standard combo attacks, but you can also pick up spheres that grant you mutant abilities. Each colored sphere allows Ricky Jones and Johnny Hart to unleash different powers, whether it's a green tornado that sweeps the entire area or an attack that splits your character in half to kill any surrounding mutants. Some may consider it as a generic one, but there's a lot of fun to be had in this one. One more thing, the music definitely has a 90s feel, and I love it. Number 17. King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. That's what I thought this game was when I first played it. I was disappointed to find out this had nothing to do with the show, but rather based on the characters of the classic King Arthur tale. Trust me, the game based on the show was terrible. I was surprised how awesome this game turned out. You take control of three knights: King Arthur, Lancelot, and Percival. Percival being my personal favorites. All three knights are awesome to use, but between you and me, after using King Arthur, I see why his name isn't on the title. It's called Knights of the Round because Lancelot and Percival are way better than him. Riding on the back of a horse and cutting down foes is a ton of fun, but what makes this game special is the leveling system. Knights of the Round features a basic yet effective way in making you feel badass, with a leveling system which powers up your characters as you progress through the game. You get better gear when leveling that completely changes your character's appearance. It gives Knights of the Round a feeling that you wouldn't get in Final Fights or any other game in the genre. This was in the 90s, mind you. Talk about ahead of its time. Number 16. This 2D Punisher game is still the best Punisher game to ever be made. I'm not referring to the Genesis port, I'm talking about the arcade game. Most importantly, it's a great beat 'em up. We can thank Capcom for that because they had a gift with licensed beat 'em ups back in the day. You take control of Punisher and the one and only Nick Fury to locate Kingpin and get this, kill him. Of course, since your goal is to kill Kingpin, you're also murdering everyone along the way, burning them to a crisp with grenades or flamethrowers, and performing tons of special moves is just some of the stuff you can do to kill those who oppose you. Combat is by far some of Capcom's best. The weight behind Punisher and Nick Fury's attacks make you feel sorry for the recipients. The environments themselves can be used against enemies as well, and the good amount of weapon pickups keep things 100% fresh. From time to time, you also get into shootouts with those who draw their guns on you. Bosses are completely bonkers if you're only familiar with Punisher's cinematic attempts rather than his comics. But if you're a fan of his comics, you're gonna be caught with some nerdgasm through this entire run. Shame I never got to play this one in the arcades. Number 15. A lot of people may say that Super Double Dragon is a mediocre game in the series, but me and my good friend since 2nd grade Jarrett played the living hell out of this game. And get this, I don't consider this one to be the best just because of nostalgia. Okay, maybe I do, but the point is that memories I have countering goons and kicking them in the face and following it up with a slew of punches always puts me in the mood to play it again. What makes it more fun is my friend Jared was a huge fan of Jimmy, and I hate Jimmy Lee. I will always be a fan of Billy. So the rivalry that we had almost felt like we were the Double Dragons. Both of us will talk a lot of trash whenever one took out more enemies than the other in that stage. We even took it as far as fighting bosses solo while the other would sit in the sidelines waiting his turn. Dragon Ball Z style. Also, we believed in fighting fair. Super Double Dragon is a little slower than others in the series, but I don't know many titles that has the counter system this game has. And I strongly believe Double Dragon does weapon pickups better than any other game in the genre. Story? Who knows? Maybe peace was interrupted in this one as well. Number 14. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is the only game in this list that I never beat. Why? Because that fucking last boss with 2 players was such a pain in the ass on hard. Like an idiot, Jarrett and myself thought it was a good idea to start the game on hard. We are some proud bastards when it comes to beat 'em ups, and we were spanked pretty hard throughout our entire ass-kicking journey. I picked Stills and he picked Scott. It was grueling, but we finally got to Gideon. But damn that second form! We didn't even get to the last one. I heard there's a third form! I still placed the game this high on the list because of the amount of fun getting to him was just too high. Taking tons of inspiration from the amazing River Cedar Ransom, Scott Pilgrim is the reason why that game is not on this list. Improving on that game from all fronts. Scott Pilgrim has an upgrade system in place that allows your characters to learn new moves as they level up, making your number of attacks pretty high. I'm a sucker for progression in these type of games. It just adds a load of variety to the combat. Another feature that gives this game long legs is the 4-player co-op, a feature absent from other games. Do yourself a favor and listen to the opening stage theme. That tune will get stuck in your head forever. Number 13. I did say one game in the franchise per console, but this is not just a Battletoads game featuring Billy and Jimmy Lee. This is a mashup of the two during their prime. Battletoads and Double Dragon takes the 2 teams and put them against enemies from both universes. It's hilarious pounding enemies because the level of violence displayed in this entry is jaw-dropping. I'll never forget the stage where you defeat a group of women by pulling on their hair and then repeatedly kneeing them to the head. All enemy types have a unique way of humiliating them in battle. Both signature styles are available to both parties. The weapon pickups are essential even for the Battletoads. You will still mostly be ramming enemies with the dash attack, but the weapons ease off a lot of the pressure you receive. Be careful because enemies can do the same as well. With the exception of the NES Battletoads game, this game is the hardest of both series. Try beating the game without a Game Genie, because the bosses are extremely cheap. Number 12. You probably already noticed that most of the games on the list are 2D. Time for another 3D one. A gem at that. Dynamite Cop. Holy shit, this game is probably the shortest one on the list in terms of length, but the replayability is off the charts. Dynamite Cop is actually a sequel to a Japan-only game called Dynamite Deca, which was released in the arcades and the Sega Saturn. But in North America, the game was reworked to be a licensed game of Die Hard. The sequel, Dynamite Cop, dropped the Die Hard name and takes place on a boat, which your mission is to rescue the president's daughter. 3 characters are selectable and all 3 kick tons of ass. Combo strings can be performed to enable devastating grapples. They are done very similar to Tekken's Dollar Combo, but if you don't want to memorize the entire combo list, you can always just button mash. This game knows how ridiculous it is. You fight a giant squid, and the main antagonist is a fucking pirate. You already know how much I fucking hate pirates. The pickups are so overpowered. You can pick up machine guns, rocket launchers, fish. But trust me when I say you have to play this one with a friend, because you will have a blast. Number 11. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is based on an old comic book series, which was then adapted to a short-lived cartoon series. I never read the comics or saw the show, but I doubt it's as action-packed as this arcade game here. Dinosaurs are going berserk, and your job is to find the root of the problem. Yes, dinosaurs coexist with humans in this world. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs has 4 selectable characters: Jack, Hannah, Mess, and Mustafa. And following the checklist used when making these type of games, they all have their own combo attacks and unique desperation attacks as well. An attack that drains their health when used. I say checklist because most, if not all, games on this list follow the same structure. So what makes this one here worth playing? It just does it so well. Punching goons that are revealed to be mistreating dinosaurs just feels so good. And to have the awesome 90s video game music playing while trashing enemies just pumps you up. Combat is also very fast. You don't get any of the leveling from Knights of the Round, but the level of speed makes up for it. Check it out. And I know you're tired of hearing this, but bring a couple of friends along for the ride. Number 10. Let me start off by saying, do not play the Super Nintendo version of this game. Get an emulator and play Alien vs Predator as it was intended. I remember first playing this game when my parents took me and my siblings to see Power Rangers the movie in theaters. That was back in 1995. My brother called me over and said, "Yo, look at this game!" I fucking shit my pants while watching that arcade screen. We begged my dad for $1. We slid those quarters in the machine. 2 sick-looking predators and 2 humans were playable. My brother picked the big guy who says, "I got it," when picking up items. And I picked the hot chick wielding a sword. What a fucking ride. Those 3 to 4 stages we played left an impression on us. The amount of aliens or enemies for that matter on screen was impressive. Something not possible on home consoles at the time. We waited and never got a home release. Well, we did, but it was the most disgusting port ever created. Capcom made awesome arcade games back to back. We didn't see Alien vs Predator again in arcades until years later. I did get to beat the game multiple times with my friend Jarrett, but the experience in the arcades was like entering a club pumping with music. It just grabs you and it doesn't let go. Trust me when I say this is one of the best beat-em-ups you can experience. Warning, most games going forward higher on this list are solely based on nostalgia. Number 9. Spider-Man Venom Separation Anxiety is the hardest game on this list, hands down. I still can't believe how vicious the street thugs can beat in this one. It makes me wonder if being Spider-Man is this difficult because these thugs are out for blood. And if you didn't notice the title, Venom is here too, and he's also having a tough time. Not even Venom can thrash these punks easily. The beatdown you receive from common enemy is on savagery levels. Luckily, there's a co-op option here unlike Maximum Carnage. Did I mention this is a sequel to that? Well, now you know. The reason I love this entry so much is due to its difficulty. Sometimes this genre can get stale if you're just mashing the same button over and over again without any challenge. Spider-Man Venom Separation Anxiety changes that with just the first stage. You're not just battling humans either, your main purpose here is to take down Carnage, which means you're also battling the symbiotes. As Spider-Man or Venom, you'll have a multitude of attacks unlocked from the beginning. The ability to web swing and climb walls may seem redundant in a beat 'em up, but in cooperative play, wall climbing is especially useful when you need to camp out from enemies as your friend takes care of them, which will happen a lot. Also, the sound effects you hear when pounding people in the neck and face is just pretty awesome. Number 8. The opening stage theme for Captain America and the Avengers is engraved into my memory. Sometimes I can be playing a random game and all of a sudden I'll be humming the tune to the first stage. That's how much I played this game growing up. Something about this game puts me in a good mood. The small sprites on screen and gameplay style isn't as impactful as others on the list, but seeing Captain America toss his shield and Iron Man shoot out beams is pretty kick-ass. The playable heroes are Captain America, Iron Man, Vision, and Hawkeye. All are fun to use. Red Skull will be your main target here, and you'll even encounter some enemies found in recent Marvel movies, such as Crossbones and Ultron. You'll be treated to some cool flying levels that turn the game into a shoot 'em up. These stages are awesome because in one of them, you will battle a Sentinel. The fan service is great. I always picked Iron Man or Captain America, and my friend always picked Vision. I didn't know who Vision was until I played this game, And this may be off topic, but it's funny looking back at this game. A 1991 arcade release and seeing how most of the characters here are household names to people who don't know anything about comic books. More on that on my 2016 Marvel Review Marathon. Number 7. Thank you Rare Replay for giving more gamers the ability to play the amazing Battletoads arcade game. For the longest time I would ask people if they played Battletoads arcade and they would reply with, yeah, that game is hard on Nintendo. Some would even say I was lying Battletoads had an arcade release. Reminds me of whenever I bring up the Battletoads cartoon I saw one Thanksgiving morning. People thought I was lying about that one too in the 90s. Being the only standalone Battletoads game where you can freely pick any of the Toads is pretty cool, seeing all three work together in its featured 3-player mode. Having Zitz, Pimple, and Rash on screen at once leads to complete chaos. Sprites take up a lot of the screen, especially boss battles, and it looks beautiful. I wish NES Battletoads was this great. Not that it isn't, but this version is a straight beat 'em up with great level design. The ice level was my personal favorite, and the music it plays, oh, just great. If you're familiar with what it takes to beat Battletoads Double Dragon, those tactics work here too. When I say tactics, I really mean just ramming bosses back to back non-stop. I won't lie, the game is pretty easy, but the replayability is awesome. One last thing I want to touch on. Something no one seems to touch on when talking about Battletoads. Is it just me? Or is the Dark Queen smoking hot? Kinda looks like an evil Jessica Rabbit, right? Number 6. Alright, I get it. This game may be considered to be too basic to be this high on the list, but the memories I have playing this game on the Genesis at home with my friends allow it to be ranked this high. It has earned its stripes. Now the superior version is the shorter arcade version, but either way you're in for a lot of fun. Golden Axe was one of the first games I can remember where you're not just punching people in the face, but rather cutting them up. I love the feel of the game. They did a great job capturing the mood and atmosphere of each stage. When you're getting closer to Death Adder, the music becomes more chilling and haunting, as if your heroes are walking to their demise. That bastard Death Adder talks a lot of shit and needs to be taken down ASAP. Okay, maybe he doesn't do a lot of talking, but he dared to take over the kingdom, so that is enough incentive to die by my blade. Did I mention you fight skeletons? I love fighting skeletons. Enemies can be taken down in numerous ways, such as tossing them and swinging your weapon to perform combo attacks. What makes it stand out are the magical potions you can pick up to cast spells that take up the entire screen. And it doesn't end there. You can store magical potions and stack them to unleash even more powerful spells that devastate everything, especially bosses. Death Adder will always get the Skyrim dragon up his ass when fighting me. Ugh, I love this game so much. Viewers that never played it, do yourself a favor and play it. Number 5. When it comes to high fantasy medieval worlds, This is the bar all weapon-based beat-em-ups must look at and say, damn, we got a lot of work to do, especially if they want to be the best of the best. Castle Crashers is one of the best games of all time. It's 4 players, has a lot of unlockables, including characters and weapons, customization to suit your playstyle, a world map similar to Super Mario World, a kick-ass combat system, fun stages with its own theme, great boss battles, and fucking aliens. Online play, a versus mode to shut down your shit-talking friends, a super lengthy journey, and amazing art style. There's a reason why this was at the top of Xbox Live's most played games month after month. For just 15 bucks, this was highway robbery. I felt bad I robbed Behemoth at what could have been a $60 experience. Castle Crashers is best played with friends, even if it's just one. I completed it with my good friend Euphoria, and we had so much fun. Some ask why a sequel is being worked on, and honestly, what can they do? Behemoth crammed this game with so much content and ideas, I can't see what can be done that wasn't already in this entry. A true masterpiece and the shining example on how to make games fun. Number 4. Holy crap. The first day I laid my eyes on Turtles in Time will never be forgotten. I was in some mall. Okay, I don't remember the name of the mall, but I saw 4 dudes playing the 4-player version of the arcade. I couldn't believe the Turtles looked just like they did in the cartoon, and I heard tons of cowabungas and shell shock coming from that arcade speaker. I wanted to play so bad, but I was nervous. As a kid, I was pretty shy, unlike today, but that didn't stop my brother from asking my dad for some quarters to play. I watched him play instead, and it was awesome. He even played with some of those dudes. Later that day, before leaving Set Mall, my brother went to play again, and I went alongside with him. Wow, what a game! Never did I experience anything like that before. Fast forward years later, I destroyed the game countless times on Super Nintendo. Honestly, both versions are perfect. Whether you're rocking it on the SNES or the arcade version, you'll be treated to the best Turtles experience to date. My personal favorite Turtle will always be Michelangelo, and my friend Jarrett was always a Ralph fan. Now, the rule we made to avoid confusion on screen was if he picked Raphael, I couldn't pick Mikey, because the colors of the bandanas were too similar. If I picked Michelangelo, he would pick Donnie. The kill counter in the SNES version resulted in some of the most intense games in my life. A lot of times, Jarrett would be on a roll being 20 plus kills ahead of me, and of course, the same can be said vice versa. I can go on and on and on why this game is amazing, but just play it. Even if you're not into Ninja Turtles, you will be highly entertained. Number 3. I bet no one has played this outstanding beat 'em up right here. Battle Circuit is an arcade game that never made it here in the US. Japan and Europe sure got it though. I only played the Japanese version, so the story, I have no idea what it's about. All I got from it was that it was wacky as hell and the characters are fucking awesome. Let me say this right now. No beat 'em up has a better combo system than this game right here. It includes an upgrade system that make your characters completely broken, in a good way. There's 5 crazy ass characters available for use, and all of them are fucking bananas. The character designs are crazy. I don't know why, but these guys remind me of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yellow Beast is my favorite. She's pretty hot too. And of course, I gotta mention Jarrett's favorite character, Cyber Blue. The other three are super odd. Captain Silver is basically Reed Richards with ice powers. Pink Ostrich is Anita from Darkstalkers on a pink chocobo, and Alien Green is basically Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. I don't use the others much unless I really want to switch it up, mainly because I love Yellow Beast so much. She's hot, and that whip! The upgraded whip! Oh, and Cyber Blue's normal charge attack? This is the upgraded one. Music is so different than other entries on this list. The best way I can describe it is very Capcom in the 90s. Has that X-Men vs Street Fighter and Street Fighter Alpha sound to it. Seriously though, the combos here will mean you will never get bored fighting wave after wave of enemies. Juggles and hitting enemies just feel so impactful. The amount of abilities you have at your disposal are plentiful. Playing with friends unlock team attacks and mean bad news for the baddies. Defeating bosses display an explosive backdrop like you see in Capcom's fighting games when winning with a super. Look, I know this is gonna scare you off, but if you don't stop this video and play Battle Circuit, I'm gonna come to your house and kill you. Number 2. That opening stage theme though, every fucking time I hear it, I must play Streets of Rage 2. Fuck Part 3. Streets of Rage 2 is by far the best game on the Genesis. Yeah, you heard it right here. I'm going past this countdown and saying it's my favorite Genesis game ever. So naturally, it would easily be this high on the list. I love everything about the game. Graphics, stages, characters, gameplay, and especially the soundtrack. I can play this game over and over and over and over and over and over again and never get bored. I love Axel, Max, Skates, and Blaze. I can't say this game is missing something, because it's not. So this is the story. Your good friend Adam was kidnapped by the Syndicate. After getting their faces bashed in over 1 year ago, they want revenge towards our heroes and want to take it out on the city by taking it over. This time, the level of destruction and violence on the streets are far worse than before. No more fucking around, it's time to take down the Syndicate once and for all. How, you ask? Come on, you already know the answer. By walking to their headquarters and beating anyone down in your way. Everyone's face is getting mushed, and anyone who tries to avoid it is getting sent to the hospital. Wrecking bars and ransacking carnivals are some of the things you'll do on your way to enemy territory. The 2-player mode is where it's at. I know I say that a lot, but I'm serious. This one's really good with a friend. I played this one with almost all my friends, even my wife. And again, the music. I feel sorry for anyone who never played this game before, even babies who were born today. Number 1. I bet everyone is saying, what the hell? How is Double Dragon 2 The Revenge on NES the best beat 'em up game of all time? Easy. I can play this game forever. Literally. If I was stranded on an island and had to pick one game in this genre, it would be this game right here. It never gets boring, even on single player mode. I love the feeling of walking up to someone, punching them a few times in the face, and then uppercutting them. I also love back kicking anyone creeping behind me. Call me crazy, but I also love jumping with 2 buttons. Gotta also mention what I like to call meet the knee. Never have I used the knee strike so beast Levels have some fun stage hazards, which can kill you and the enemy in the blink of an eye, such as the helicopter you board with a busted door, sucking everyone outside while mid-flight. I have a love and hate relationship with the forest stage. When I was younger, I hated it, but I love it now. The platforming is so bad here. I don't know why, but this stage reminds me of Smokey the Bear. Nothing is worse than the final stage. The stage with the worst of the worst platforming. I'm complaining about the terrible platforming, but I don't find it frustrating. In fact, I laugh if I don't make the jump. I'm mentioning a lot of flaws with this game, but you know what? This game is a straight up classic in my book. I miss Double Dragon, and I'm glad that Neon was a callback to the series, even with a nod to this game. And that's honestly the reason why it's the best beat 'em up game of all time. Thank you for watching this countdown video. Whether it was some or all of it, I really do appreciate anyone taking the time out to watch my content. It takes me a lot of time working on a project of this size, primarily because it's difficult juggling YouTube with my personal life. But I have a secret new project I've been working on, and it's coming later this year. I've been working on it for a long time, so I promise it'll be worth the wait. In the meantime, if you want more content similar to this video, you can watch my top 20 PS1 games of all time. It's pretty lengthy, but I poured my heart into it. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you around the comment section.